Hi, everybody. My name is Angela Breinenbach. I am the Executive Director for the International Institute of Genealogical Studies. And with me today is our professor and our Director of Scottish Studies. And we're going to have a really fun interactive time with Alison Spring as she helps us learn how to pronounce Scottish place names. So as we're going into the new year, Alison is hard at work at writing some new courses. She's updated a few. She has contributed and collaborated on a few. And we have a new course coming up in the new year that is going to be Latin for genealogy. We're excited to share that with you all. And Alison is going to be collaborating on that. She's collaborated on the British military course that is being revamped, bringing in England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and all their outlying areas for understanding the British rule and the military effect in occupations and families over the centuries. So that one is also coming out in the new year. And she has just turned in Scottish Beyond the OPRs, and I have finished and put my stamp of approval on it, and that one will be going online very quickly. Probably in December or January at the latest. So we're excited to invite you into our revamped, but also growing and expanding certificate for the Scottish records. Welcome, Alison, and I would love it if you would introduce yourself and then go ahead and tell us a little bit about how to pronounce Scottish place names, and call on us when you want us to try to pronounce it.
Okay, I will. Thanks, Angie. My name's Alison Spring. I'm a professional genealogist from Scotland. I live near the city of Glasgow, and I've been researching my ancestors for more years than I care to remember, and doing it professionally for slightly less. But I'm really excited that Angie has invited me to share the pronunciation of some difficult Scottish towns. That's not all of them, by the way, it's just some of them. But as you will probably see, it can lead to some amusing situations. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully this will work. Okay, so I think that's almost worked. Yep. Can you see? Yes?
Can see.
Great stuff. So I've been asked to do this because there are sometimes, especially people who are visiting Scotland for the first time, perhaps are asking the way, looking for directions to a particular place. Maybe their ancestors come from there, and they find a bit of a language difficulty there. And it's all to do with pronunciation. These names are sometimes taken from Scottish, sometimes from Norse, sometimes from Gaelic, sometimes from English. It just varies very greatly. So there are a few rules that you need to be aware of before you try and pronounce some of these names. So the letters CH together, as in loch, are not usually pronounced like a K. Loch, that's not how you say it. Loch Lomond. You say it at the back of your throat like that. There are lots of silent letters in some of these place names, so don't be tripped up by them. Don't be afraid to ask for help with pronunciation. Show the person you're speaking to the name of the place written down, and they'll be able to help you. And it's important to remember that with Scottish place names, there is no such thing as consistency at all. And you'll see that shortly. Okay, so we're going to start with some of the big cities, the important places first. So we'll start with this one first. Anybody want to have a shot at this? Turn on your mics and give it a go.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh? Oh, very good. Who was that?
Which me?
Very good. That was excellent. Yes, perfect. Edinburgh. The G and the H are silent at the end of these names. Sometimes you will pronounce them. Like I said, no consistency. But Edinburgh is an important city. It's the capital. There's a lot of history there. So it's important to be able to pronounce it correctly. The second is, well, it's really the biggest city in Scotland and near where I live. So if you were listening at my introduction, you should know how to pronounce this.
My daughter did her master's degree there. So I think I've got it, and I've got some ancestry there. I think I've got it. Is it Glasgow?
Glasgow, that's right.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
It's not Glasgow, as some people sometimes pronounce it like Moscow or whatever, but Glasgow. And again, don't worry about the consistency. Also, don't worry about if you hear a cat howling in the background. That's just my Molly, and she's not in pain or anything like that. She's just seeking attention. So this is a town near Glasgow, and it's probably the most commonly mispronounced one because it doesn't look a thing like it sounds. Anyone want to try this? Too difficult?
Melange.
Nice try. Remember, a lot of the letters are silent, so that N doesn't appear in the pronunciation at all.
Is it
Give.
No, no.
Gave V?
That's what it looks like, but it doesn't sound at all what it looks like. I will show you. That's how it is pronounced. Who decided that? I don't know. Milgai.
Wait, say it again.
Milgai.
Milgai.
Yes. And often people will be heard to say, "Oh, can I have a taxi to Milngavie?" And of course, everyone falls about laughing. But we have sympathy because people don't know. If we go abroad, we struggle with language as well. So we have sympathy. This is a town near me, it's really a village. And remember, lots of silent letters.
Strathaven.
That's what it looks like, isn't it? If you miss out the middle three letters, you'll be fine.
Straven?
Strathaven.
Yeah, nearly. Straven. Straven. I know, it's crazy. It's a town or village that used to be famous for producing what they called Straven toffee. It wasn't really toffee, and it's a Scottish sweet confection that is called tablet. I don't know if there's anything equivalent to it, but it's sweet like toffee, but it's soft and crumbly. And as one of my American flatmates used to say, it's 100% sugar. So that's pretty much what Straven is famous for. Okay, this is the next one. I learned this when I worked at the university library because my boss was from here. And it's a little place north of Dundee. And I only learned how to pronounce it properly last year.
It's a little bit north of Dundee is southern Scotland, right?
No, it's north.
Northern. Okay. I almost am afraid to pronounce it because
Well, I've never managed it until I heard somebody actually say it.
Is it Frickum?
Close enough, though. Close enough.
Oh, Freecum.
It's a German name, and I think it's to do with the family who owned the land and possibly had German or maybe Dutch business connections, as they do in that part of the country. It's the eastern part of the country, so I think maybe that's where it's come from. I don't know if that's the German pronunciation. Of course, that's just a Scottish pronunciation.
We need a cheat sheet.
Well, you totally do. So this is a chain of islands that are off to the northwest of Scotland. They have inner and they have outer.
The Hebrides.
Hebrides.
Yes. Who said that? That was excellent. Well done. Hebrides. The beautiful islands where my ancestors have come from and where my many summer holidays were spent as a child.
2 points to the class. We've got
very good. Oh, you're giving points. Is there a prize at the end?
Points.
Straven toffee. I could send you some. Okay, this is a town in southern Scotland. We pass it often as we're traveling in and out of England, and there's usually much laughter because it's a funny word. And it actually pronounces more or less as you see.
Cleveland.
Oh no. One more try, folks.
Ecofeckin.
Yes. It sounds like you're swearing at someone, but it's genuinely Ecclefechan.
Ecclefechan. Okay, everybody try.
Ecclefechan. There's
Yep.
a in there. Okay. This is just a short name, but it doesn't really sound the way it looks. If I was looking at it for the first time, I'd probably say dowry, but that's not quite it. The first bit's right.
Is it dairy?
No, that's an L in the middle. I know you're trying to be silent.
Okay, somebody else try.
Is it
Someone else.
Dolly?
No, no.
Oh,
Dalry.
all right.
I had to ask a friend of mine who moved here from England some years ago what her difficulties were. And so this is one of the ones that she used to live in that I think she had to learn how to pronounce before she went to live there. But it's not just folk from overseas, it's people from England and Wales and Ireland that sometimes struggle. Were you going to say something, Angie?
I went there because I'm from the parish, my family, not me, my family's from the parish of Carstfairn, and you go through Dalry, and this is the first time I've said it right.
Right. Do you know, that's just reminded me, there's two Dalrys. There's one near Carstfairn and there's one near Paisley, which is a town in central Scotland. So you'll find that too, that sometimes the names are repeated. And you have to be clear which one you're talking about, especially if you're doing research, you need to say which county the town is from. Okay, next one. This is an island off the west coast, one of the Hebrides.
Oh boy.
Easley.
That's what it looks like, isn't it? Yeah. Not that sadly.
Isla.
Oh, yes, who said Isla?
Anybody who drinks whiskey.
That's correct. Another 2 points to the team. Well done. Okay, this is a town, or a village, I should say, in Fife. It's also one of my family lines. They don't come from there, they come from the north of Scotland. So I know people have a hard time saying this. There's a town, as I say, in Fife, and there's a town on the west coast of Scotland that has this as part of its name also.
Wemyss.
Drop the Y.
Weems?
Wems?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Weems.
2 more points.
And
Sorry, is it Weems or Wems?
Weems.
Weems. Okay.
Weems. Yes. It doesn't look like that at all, and I'm not sure what the derivation is of the name. To be honest, there's Weems Bay on the west coast, and there's I think it's actually spelled Weem, W-E-E-M, in Fife as well. Okay, I think this is one Angie might know.
I do. Oban.
This is Oban.
Yes, it's Oban.
Yeah.
A fishing port, a very important ferry terminal on the west coast, takes you to all the Hebrides. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh. Come on, team. Come on, team.
Give it a go.
Balachulism.
Oh, nearly. Just change the end.
Ballachulish.
Yes, Ballachulish. Well done.
Ballachulish.
Now, I'm sure this comes from Gaelic, but don't ask me what it means. My Gaelic's not very good. It should be. My father was a native speaker, but he thought the language was dying, so he discouraged me from learning Gaelic at school and told me to take French, which I have never used. Never been to France or anywhere that speaks French. Ballachulish is a small town northwest of Scotland on the road to Skye, because I know that because when we were going to Skye every year on holiday, we'd stop off at Ballachulish at my aunt and uncle's place. Now, this is the name of a baked treat, of course, but it's also the name of a very important, historically speaking, place in Scotland where there's a palace where the kings were crowned anciently.
Scone.
Yeah, that's what we say when we want something with jam and butter on it and cream. That is correct. That's the pronunciation that I prefer.
Good. Oh,
Ooh.
Ooh.
Scone is the name of the palace, and it's if you're visiting Scotland, I highly recommend you visit Scone Palace. The original Stone of Destiny was kept there, the stone upon which the kings were crowned, and they have a replica right there as well. They also have a very unusual albino peacock. They have a flock of peacocks and they make a terrible racket, but they have a lovely albino one as well. Okay, North what? Now this is no. This is where the consistency, lack of consistency, comes in, and then this and the next couple of names.
North Berwick.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Points.
Well
to the team.
done. 2 points. A little, well, town on the southeast coast of the country.
Okay, so is this inconsistent with the last?
Yes, it's very inconsistent.
Okay.
Prestwick.
Yes, it's exactly as it looks. But if you've looked at all the other names and think, oh, I don't know about that, it's exactly as it appears. It's a seaside town, not far from me. There's an important international airport there, and it's the only place in Scotland that Elvis Presley ever visited. That's what it's famous for. He was on his way to military service in Germany, and I think the military transport stopped off Prestwick. Okay, the third one in this section. Again, very inconsistent.
I'm gonna
Hadwick?
guess. Hey, oh,
Haywick?
Sorry.
Haywick?
go ahead, Jill.
Haywick? I don't know.
Close.
Haywick?
I was gonna say how. Oh, Howick? No, not Howick. Howick.
That's pretty close, actually.
Hoik.
Hoik.
Oh.
Boy,
Hoik.
I would
Just ignore that W and pretend it's an O.
I
Hoik.
would not have got that one.
No, it's a borders town, and it's a famous for its rugby team, really. But Hoik, just say it really quickly. One syllable. Hoik.
What was it famous for?
The rugby team. It's they have rugby tournaments there in the borders. Generally, they do Jedburgh, another borough, Hoik, and Kelso. And this is a town that Angie might have passed through, I think, if she's been in Wigtonshire.
I did, but I'm going to give everybody else a chance. Come on, team.
It's not too bad. The first bit's perfectly straightforward.
Okay, here we go. Stranraer.
Yes. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not too unlike what it appears.
Oh, geez.
This one actually is, if you just take it a little bit at a time and remember the at the end, you could probably fake it.
Crenlaric.
That's pretty good. Crean
Wow.
And again, it's a Gaelic name whose derivation I haven't researched at all. Town in Perthshire, again on the road to the Highlands. This name, I don't think has any
Bewling?
Gaelic. Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying.
Somebody said it.
Bewling.
Yes, that's
Oh.
it. It's like beauty with an L instead of a T. And I'm not sure what if this is a Viking name or if it's a corruption of Scottish or Gaelic, I don't know. But you look at it and you think, Bowley? But no, Bewley, you were absolutely correct. This is one that my English friend struggled with. She heard somebody say it and she thought it was a disease. I don't know what kind of diseases they have in England.
Gorak.
You got the last bit right.
Gowrock?
Guruk.
Guruk.
You might, if you're on a cruise around Britain, you might dock at Guruk. There's a cruise terminal there. Oh, this is a good one. This is a little village that when you go over the sea to Skye, or when you go over the bridge to Skye, it's a bridge now, and this is your first landfall on the Isle of Skye.
Leakin.
Heineken?
The first bit you certainly got right. It doesn't.
Kayla Keelan.
Oh, close. Kylakin.
Oh.
Think of, if you're old enough to remember The Man from U.N.C.L.E., think of Ilya Kuryakin. It kind of rhymes with that. Okay, for those who are too young, forget that. This is a West Coast town that my English friend ended up in, and she started pronouncing it the way it looks, but it's not pronounced quite like that. Just chop the E off the end.
Irvin?
Yes, that's it. It looks like Irvine, and that's how she pronounced it when she got there first, but no.
Newton Sturt.
Okay.
Oh, you did do the Stewart.
Newton Stewart, because in Scotland we pronounce the EW like a yeah, Stewart, Newton Stewart. And the surname Stewart is the same. And you'll maybe see the word Stewart in names of people or places, like the Stewartry of this place.
I can do this now.
So shush, Angie, don't give it away.
I want to hear everybody else try it.
Food rights.
I'm not hearing it yet.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think anyone could look at this and pronounce it correctly the first time.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really? Wow.
Kirkcudbright.
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 That's-
And there is a historic Scottish county, Kirkcudbrightshire, as well.
Mhm. It's really hard when you're trying to talk to somebody about Kirkcudbright if you don't know how to pronounce it. And this one I know came out of the Gaelic because I did some research on it. And the GH is definitely silent and the T is silent, and I's are not pronounced like I, like we would. And so the going from the English to the Gaelic is where you have to think. And then the DB together, they just are if it's like a DB normally and it just ends it, it's like a sound of a V. So this one really threw me because it didn't fit the rules of Gaelic or English.
No, there are no rules, remember. Okay, so that's it. You are now qualified to pronounce some of the toughest Scottish names.
What questions did that bring up for everybody?
I think you all did pretty well.
I think so too. I think so. We would have passed on the test. We wouldn't have gotten an A+ though.
I have a question, Allison.
Sure, Kim.
Okay, so my maternal grandmother, her last name is Kerr. How
Yeah.
do you correctly pronounce that?
I would say Kerr,
Okay.
but I know the film star Deborah spelt that way, pronounced it Carr, and she was from Glasgow. So I don't know if that was like her Hollywood name, but she spelt it Kerr, but didn't pronounce it Kerr, which is how everybody here would say it if they saw it on a street name or somebody's personal name.
Okay,
I've seen it as a given name for men as well.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
might have
I
to.
wouldn't have
Not
thought that. But then my
historically.
first name is can either be for a man or a woman as well.
True.
Yeah.
The care, the given name, I've never seen it for a woman, but there are many names in Scottish genealogy that you will see used interchangeably for men and women. One of them is John. That's actually not just a Scottish thing, but I'm sure that's an international thing, because I remember reading Susan Coolidge's Katie books, and Katie had a sister called John, which confused me completely as a child. But the name Stuart, I've seen that as a woman's given name. Keith, I've seen that as a woman's given name as well, and
Really?
many others. It's not hugely common, but it just teaches you to be careful about gender identity, because don't assume if someone's got what you think is a male name that they are male. They may not be. You'd have to see the female or male written on the record that you're looking at to be sure, or see the word daughter. I have one, I can't remember the name for the life of me for the moment, but I had to find a will that named her as the daughter of, because she was given a name that was usually given to men. So there are various ways around that you can identify when you have the right sex for a person.
That's really interesting. That's a good thing to remember for all of us who are studying Scottish or researching our Scottish ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is super exciting. So, what are you working on now, Alison?
I'm working on the Scottish poor and poor law records. So people who are poor historically in Scotland, and what kinds of records you can find out about them in, and what value they have. And I've been looking at those today. I've been in the Glasgow City Archives, looking at some of the fantastic records, and there are all sorts of things stuffed in these records, newspaper cuttings and birth certificates and letters like you wouldn't believe. Just, sort of letters grassing people up, just saying this person did this to me and I want to complain, and I don't think they deserve to get any poor relief and stuff like that. I saw that today. That was just amazing.
Wow.
I took pictures of those.
Spirited sometimes, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly says she heard tablet is comparable to fudge. Do you think so, Alison?
Over here, fudge is quite soft, but it's not as sweet and sugary. It's very similar. It's similar, but the texture, the consistency is different. Bev's got her hand up.
Let's see. Colleen said, "Oh, Bev, go ahead. Sorry."
Hey, thanks. Question about pronunciation of names. The man's given name that I would pronounce as Donald. Was there a Scottish pronunciation that would make the N silent, sort of more like Dald?
My father's name, Donald, in Gaelic is Doll.
Okay, thank you.
And that's one of the few Gaelic things I do know.
And there's a different spelling for it, though, isn't there?
Very different. It's DOMHNAILL. So again, there's a lot of silent letters in Gaelic. Just skip them. Good question, Bev.
Thanks.
Colleen says, like Shirley and Carol, they started as male names. She was making a comment to yours.
Oh, yes.
Kim says she didn't know that. So that's really cool. And does anybody have any other questions? This was intended to be a short and fun interactive meeting. I haven't looked, Alison, at when your next Scottish meeting is. Do you by chance know?
No, sorry.
I'll take a peek.
I know that there's 2 scheduled for next year. Would that be the next ones?
Yeah.
Next year. I think one's January or February was the next one.
So I'm looking. I didn't see one in January, so I'll double check February.
I'm just going to look at my Google Calendar and tell you.
Yeah. That way we let you all know. We do know, oh, I found it, February 8th.
There we
So
go.
if you check your calendar, it's 11 a.m. Mountain, noon Central, and then 1 Eastern. And of course, going around the world, you'll have to change your time zone. But if you've changed your time zone in your profile, then you'll see that time on your calendar. So that would be there. And they haven't been released to site-wide yet, just letting you all know because you were here that you might have an interest in it. Those will release site-wide very shortly so that you can get them on your calendars and schedule. Thank you so much for being with us today, Allison, and all the rest of people who had the courage to give it a try for the team. That was pretty fun. We'll go ahead and turn off the recording. If you'd like to take classes with us here at the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, you can find us at genealogicalstudies.com. And you can also call at 800-580-0165 if you are in the US or in Canada. If you need to do a Zoom meeting with us so that you can ask personal questions and you're around the world, we are happy to do that too. We'll see you back here again for our next Scottish meeting on February 8th. And please do join us over at genealogicalstudies.com.